Hi, I'm Sierra Walton, and I'm here with Money B from the iconic group Digital Underground.
What's happening?
Okay, for the first question, who were your biggest inspirations or influences starting out?
A couple of my influences. One was Run DMC,
Okay.
right? So when I was maybe like 13 or 14, my entire wall was covered with Run DMC posters. So me and my brother Cullen, we loved Run DMC. We used to emulate them and act like we were them. And also look up a rapper, old school, named Spoonie G. He was like the first really smooth style rapper, because I never had like a big voice. So I couldn't really do all the hip hop loud stuff. So he was one of the first cats that had like a smooth vocal delivery that was kind of geared towards the ladies per se. And I thought he was real smooth. So Spoonie G, Run DMC, definitely big influence.
What does hip hop mean to you?
Hip hop to me is culture, right? So hip hop is, there's 5 elements. You have the graffiti, rapping, DJing, b-boying, which is the dance, and then you could even consider the style, right, of how it looks. But hip hop encompasses all of that, right? So there's a big argument when people say like, there are rappers and then there are MCs or hip hop artists, right? So the rappers are the ones that are only in it for the dough and the prestige, and they don't care about the culture. And then real MCs actually do. And if you love hip hop, then you love all of hip hop. You appreciate the culture. Right. And so for me, I just always feel like it's one of my duties is to carry the culture forward, so to always respect it. If ever I can give information to someone, say younger than me or someone that wants to learn it, I share that information because I want the culture to move forward and progress. So if I'm no longer able to speak for the culture, then hopefully what I teach you, you can carry it forward and talk about it.
Okay. Do you think hip hop should be an inclusive or exclusive genre?
It should absolutely be inclusive. Hip hop, it started out in the inner cities, and it was basically the voice. It was the voice of the youth, and hip hop has always been a youth-driven movement, right? Mm-hmm. So it's always been what's next, what's new, what's different, right? So hip hop is always going to evolve. And I've just learned over the years, or I should say, I appreciate me traveling to Japan in 1990 and how much they love the culture and they just ate it up. Now, if you go to Japan now, they have their own scene where they don't even listen to American hip hop. They have their own hip hop. Yeah. And I think that's dope. So, like I know artists in Germany. I have a friend, he's a producer. His son does German trap.
Wow.
And I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but look up German trap. It's good. So,
wow, really?
Yeah, so, I definitely think it's inclusive. It's music, right? And music is expression, and music should be, for the most part, to be enjoyed, right? So why wouldn't everybody be included in that?
Right. When and how did you realize that hip hop was the genre that you wanted to work in?
I knew that I wanted to do it full time. I would say when I first heard it, but not really, right? Because I was like 12 when I heard 11 or 12 when I heard Rapper's Delight, right? Right. But I didn't know that that's what I was going to do. But I had been writing since I was like 13. By the time I was 15 or 16, that's around the time I was, I did a talent show at Berkeley High in 10th grade, and I did well. And then people started telling me or making me believe that I was good enough to do it. So probably from that time, from when I was like 15 or 16, I thought that I had the skill to actually do that for a
Pursue it,
living.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in Digital Underground specifically?
Specifically, well, before Digital Underground, I was in a group with DJ Fuse,
Right.
who was the DJ for Digital Underground. And me and him were called Raw Fusion. And also my good friend Mac Moan was part of that group. And we had a demo tape and we were doing talent shows and whatnot. And we were actually kind of dope. We were, as far as local talent, we were being known as one of the groups that was doing our thing. And Fuse was probably recognized at the time as one of the best DJs in the Bay Area. So at that time, Digital Underground had one single called Underwater Rhymes that was already out and that they were promoting. And they were doing shows around the same time. And they needed a DJ. So they tried to steal my DJ, basically. But to kind of make it short, Fuse agreed to DJ for Digital Underground if they would include me in, sort of what was happening. And that's kind of how it started. So, from there I got the shot, but as we learned each other, I definitely earned my keep. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't like I was just a tag along. It was
right.
But that was the way.
Prove yourself, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually proved myself, but that was the way that's how the door opened for me.
Okay.
To be in the group. Me and Fuse came in together.
One of your biggest songs is "I Get Around." I was wondering how that record kind of came to be.
So, "I Get Around" is a very interesting song. It was actually released on Tupac's record, Strictly for My. But
nice.
So that song originally, it actually was a Digital Underground beat. So Shock made that beat for Digital Underground.
Right.
But when Tupac, he had a deadline for that album and he asked Shock for a beat.
Right.
And Shock was like, well, we got this one beat everybody liked, but we haven't written to it yet. So he gave him that track. And then in turn, Tupac, he was living in LA at this point, he turned around and asked us to be on the song. So I thought that was kind of dope.
Yeah.
That he wanted us to be on it. So interestingly enough, that record came out right around the time when Digital Underground, we had already peaked. And we were sort of on the other side of the hill.
Right.
As far as career-wise, we were just about to be dropped from Tommy Boy Records. So that record, "I Get Around," sort of prolonged our relevancy for another year and a half or 2 years.
Wow.
So it was kind of dope.
From your perspective, what makes a good hip hop record?
To me, it's a vibe, right? So a good hip hop record to you would be different from a good hip hop record to me, but it's still hip hop. Right. So I can't just say I can't give you a blueprint because that won't fit your
whatever else. Yeah.
Whatever yours is you catch a vibe. So I like good music, not just hip hop. If it's good, I dig it. So it has to speak to me. Right. Now, obviously, I come from a more traditional hip hop base, old school. Right. So I love that, but I also love some of the new, the new beats and some of the styles that have sort of evolved from what we used to do originally. Right. So I don't know that I specifically can say that there's a checklist, right? I just know when I hear it, I hear it.
Yeah.
I could be sitting here and I hear something like, that sounds interesting. What is that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is dope.
Okay.
Who is that? Then I'm into it.
Who's your favorite artist today? Hip hop artist today?
Current?
Yeah.
If I'm just gonna be on some recency bias type deal, I would probably say I like J. Cole, and I like Killer Mike.
Okay. What is different in hip hop today compared to when you first started?
Obviously the technology,
right?
For better and for worse, meaning that, when I was coming out or coming up, I would say it was a lot harder. Do I want to say harder? There were steps to be able to record a record, meaning that you had to rent studio time, you know, because you couldn't, there was no computers or internet or
like
things
at-home
to
stuff,
do it.
yeah.
There was no home studio. So you had to believe or invest in yourself enough to spend your own money to go in a studio. You had to record it, and then in order for people to hear you, you had to get out to the places and people had to hear you. As opposed to now, you can make beats on your watch.
Right, and
you
post
can,
it.
You
and,
can record yourself. It doesn't cost you anything. If it does something, cool. But if it doesn't, you didn't have to put yourself in any position. Before, like, you really had to get out and get in front of people.
Right.
Get out in the streets, promote. You had to spend your own money to get in the studio. So there was a lot more of an investment. So I think just in that was the way to sort of wash out the people who were BSing, per se.
Right.
Because if you weren't serious about it, you weren't going to spend the money and take the time to do what it takes.
Right.
Now it's so easy, you can just fluke up on something and it doesn't cost you. So, you know, everybody can take a stab at it, even if they're not serious about it.
Yeah.
And then they can just, you know, something goes viral,
and
there it is.
Yeah.
So,
what do you enjoy most, performing live or recording in a studio?
Definitely performing live. You know, it's nothing like the immediate gratification of the response. Like I can be, if I'm looking you in your eye and I see you enjoying what I'm doing, that's dope. You know, it's a room full of people that are all singing your song, or you know, that's a rush that I don't think that you get anywhere else. Recording is the creative process of recording. I love, but you make a record, you put it out, you have to wait, see if somebody buys it.
Right,
or, you know what I mean? And wait to see. But when you're doing a show, you know right when you start doing it. And if they don't like it, you know too. Because you're like, oh, that's not working. Move to the next one, right? So I love that.
Okay. What advice would you give to a new artist?
To any new artist, I would just say, believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. Like, that's really the main thing, because as we've been talking, there are so many genres of hip hop now. And also music is just, it's subjective, right? So what works for you doesn't work for me. So I always tell people, if you do Panda Bear rap, right? There's an audience for Panda Bear rap. There's a group of people that just love Panda Bears, and if they heard you, they would definitely gravitate towards what you do. So whatever it is that you do, you have to know and believe that you're not the only person that enjoys that. So just keep doing it, and then find your audience, find your lane, and just be you. And I would say, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because you absolutely can.
Okay. How would you want to be remembered if you decide to step away from the music business?
Probably, you know, aside from, I feel like I've contributed to the culture enough to where I have music that's going to be around well past when I'm not here anymore. You know, I have hit songs that have kind of been tested through the generations. So, you know, musically, you know, I'm okay. But I would like to think that hopefully anybody that knew me or met me or worked with me would say that I was absolutely genuine. Always honest and sincere about, you know, what I say to people and what I do. And I was always trying to, like I said, help and push the culture forward. So, you know, it is.
Well put. Okay, and then as the last question, do you have any upcoming projects, or like a way that people that watch this video can find you?
I do. I actually do have a new project that I'm about to drop, and actually, you guys might be familiar with an artist named Guap Dad 4000. He's from Oakland, so the first single is me and Guap. You know, Guap's from Oakland. I'm from Oakland, so you know, it's the town business. You know, the younger generation with the old school. It's like a nice little mix. It's kind of dope, and I'm excited about that. The album's called Midway. It's produced by a producer, XL, out of Chicago. Now It's called Midway because Midway is an airport in Chicago. So it's the connection between the Bay Area and Chicago.
Wow, that's cool.
Right? So connecting.
Yeah, that's really sick.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of dope. It's a sound. Definitely, you got the Chicago production style with, me being from the Bay, and it's a dope mix, without giving too much away. But if you want, just follow me on Instagram at MoneyB69 or on YouTube at MoneyB69 or on Twitter at MoneyB69.
Got it.
Right.
All right.
It's all me.
Thank you. Bye.